Hello everybody, and welcome to another Whether News Happens or Not video. Now, you're probably wondering, where the crap are we? Because this definitely does not look like my room, or definitely does not look like a place that we normally film at. Well, not too long ago, the iconic couch that was in this basement, if you go all the way back when we started, almost 8 years ago, we're about coming up on 8 years, the gray couch that was behind us in the very first videos is not in this basement anymore. It's a sad day. The iconic couch is not here anymore, and we have space down here in the basement. We're filming this in the former Weather News Happens or Not studio. This is the basement in my house was the studio for Weather News Happens or Not, and today, as we do normally every year, we've been doing it every year since 2019, which is crazy because it's like the 5th one that we've done so far. This is our beginning of the year video, and we're going to talk about what we did in 2022. We're going to talk about what ideas that we do have going into 2023, and we're going to tell y'all what the year of whatever is, because it's already in the title. You can probably already see it. But we're going to give y'all some suspense, even though it's whatever, you know. What'd you think of 2022, Dawson?
Interesting. We were actually talking about it earlier. When we were talking about getting this video ready and what we were talking about and everything. This year was a year of big projects.
Yeah.
I
would agree.
Very big projects. We had people film with us, and then we didn't have people film with us, and then we just kind of moseyed on about our day and did what we did. And honestly, I'm happy with what we have done. We've done a lot of good projects. We've expanded our horizon with things a little bit more, with working with different techniques, different equipment and everything, and it is coming out really good. I know for me, I'm very proud for some of the films that we have done.
Yeah.
This last year, because they are bigger films. Mm-hmm. They're a lot more story driven.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and they came out really good. So
yeah, we did about the same amount of films as we did last year in 2022 as we did in 2021. Like Dawson was saying, we did talk about it earlier that it does feel like every film that we've done, we've taken it from nothing and turned it into something bigger, especially with Who Took Sarah, but we'll get into that in just a few minutes. But right now, in this segment of the video, we're going to talk about the stuff, and not just the films we've done, but the videos we've done in 2022 as a whole. There's not very many. We haven't done a lot because, you know, there's life, and we got to live life. And you can't always do Whether News Happens or Not stuff unless you quit your job and then you want to do it all the time and you get paid for it. There's not going to be a lot of videos to discuss here because we didn't do very much in 2022. To kick off 2022, we did the beginning of the year video, which was the year of the color red, because that was the very last time. But it was the year of the color red. And that was when we changed the colors of the Whether News Happens or Not stuff a lot more than we do now, because now we actually have an actual brand and everything. But we did the Year of the Color Red video back at the beginning of 2022, and then we didn't do a video for quite some time. Probably for about 2 or 3 months after that, we didn't do anything. We talked about stuff. We went through different ideas, but we did our first film of 2022, and that was The Drop Zone. And The Drop Zone is one of the most interesting films I think that we've ever done, and we've talked about it in the character videos. If you want to go check those videos out also, we did those pretty recently. It was an idea that I came up with in the shower, and then we just it became this big film that we filmed in this very basement as well. We also did that. What are your thoughts on The Drop Zone?
It was different. It was very different. It was like a combination of Maze Runner, Hunger Games, and whatever else. It was just different things, and it was different, but it was a good different.
Yeah.
It had suspense, a little bit of action, not really a whole lot of action going on.
Yeah.
But it had suspense and lots of running.
There was a lot of running, yeah.
Lots of
running.
I liked it. You saw my dog in it.
Yeah, Dawson's dog was in that film.
You saw my dog in it. We used the tanning bed for like
For
the
the very
starting
first
up
time.
thing.
Yeah, that was the very first time we did that. We've talked about using tanning bed for a long time,
Yeah,
and then we finally got to do it.
We were gonna use it for like Paragon.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah, not to tan.
Not to tan.
But for other things.
Yeah.
But and looking at this gaming video right now, we didn't do a lot of those either. We did some throughout the year. We did a gaming video of Minecraft where we entered the wizard world. If you want us to do that again, let us know because we will do it. That was a fun video to do. We got to go to a magical castle. That was fun. We got to do some crazy things. And Dawson was too busy trying to get on a horse in that video. Spent most of that video trying to get on that horse. But then I posted the making of Fett, which is a unseen footage video. We actually were planning on making that film at the beginning of 2021, but it ended up not becoming a thing. It ended up becoming Star Wars Bounty, which we'll talk about later on in this video. But that's a almost 30-minute video just showing how we made that film. And there goes the light because Dawson about knocked it down.
Too much weight. Too much weight.
But yeah, we were wanting to make it a big thing, and it ended up not happening because of how much of a big scale we wanted it to be. And it is what it is. We made Star Wars Bounty in its place, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. The biggest film that we did this year was the second film that we did this year, and it all stemmed from an idea because my mom cleaned out my closet in my room, and I thought, hey, that looks like a place a girl would be kidnapped in. And that's where the whole idea...
The usual thought you have.
Yep, a usual thought that you have when you're a filmmaker. And that's where Who Took Sarah became a thing. And Who Took Sarah was the very first hour-long movie that we've ever done. It was an accomplishment, really, for me and Dawson as a whole.
Yeah.
Because we've never done anything that big before, ever. And it's even more impressive because it really was just me and Dawson the entire time.
Yeah.
For an hour. Yeah, the scene at the end was great.
Mm-hmm.
The performances were great. I think I lost my mind in that film.
I still think one of the coolest scenes about that, and it was something so simple, but at the same time, it really kind of brought the feeling to life. I really liked the arresting scene.
Yeah.
With the blue lights and everything, having the cops come, and then that was really cool.
That was filmed in my driveway. Fun fact. Hilariously enough, it's so dark you can't see where we're at, so it works. But yeah, Ian got to be a part of that, was the arresting officer.
Yep.
And Caitlin was in it, Jill was in it, Alyssa was in it, my mom was in it. A lot of women were in it.
Speaking of that film.
Oh, we got a poster. Yeah, we got some posters today, earlier before this video was made, of Who Took Sarah. Yeah.
It's actually a big poster. I know it's a little blurry on camera, or you can't really see the whole good, but it just came out earlier. It's not blurry.
Yeah.
It looks good.
And these are actual screenshots from the film.
Yeah.
Because we didn't take pictures for the video.
We didn't.
Because we were doing so much. I remember for that film specifically, Dawson had a list of everything, all the scenes we wanted to do on one side and the other. And we never wrote a script.
Yeah.
We just planned it out. And it turned out the way that it did.
The only time I wrote a script was for Jill and Alyssa's character from whenever my character came to question and talk to them right over here,
Yeah,
actually.
it's just filmed right over here.
And that was really it, because we went to go eat, and then we were thinking about it, and then when we got here, that's whenever I started working on the script for it.
Yeah. But that was a fun experience.
Yeah.
That film was very different. I mean, the fact that we filmed it in 2 days was impressive. I also got featured on the Sherry Show for doing that film, which was pretty cool. So it was one of the biggest films we've done. Like, got a lot of attention. I mean, especially I was on TV for it, representing whether News Times or not. That was a big thing. We did that, and then the comments.
You guys did awesome, and wow, everyone did great.
Yeah, it's a really good film. I think Caitlin was the one that said that she had people tell her what happened to Trace.
Yeah.
In that film, because I don't know where I went to for that film.
I showed the people at my work it, and they watched it, and they said it was really good, and they liked it. My foreman, who he actually was watching it in the truck, and he was sitting there watching it. And halfway through, I was like, "You good?" He's like, "I'm actually kind of invested in this right now." He's like, "It's a good story." So it's not a big budget movie, but
No.
it's our budget movie,
Yeah.
which was actually really good.
Crime stuff, anybody that wants to know, crime stuff is possibly some of the easiest stuff that you can probably do. Because it's real. It can really happen. What we
really
did in a film probably has happened before. We just don't know it.
Yeah.
But the next
No.
one is one of the most psychologically messed up films we've done in our whole entire career at Whether News Happens or Not, and that's The Room. The Room was a big film, another big film that we did. It was also the first time that we used my grandparents' basement to film something in, and it was also... Dawson had to do some crazy acting for that one.
That was fun.
He had to talk to himself in the mirror, and I got to make him sound like his balls dropped. Yeah, because when he talked to himself in the mirror, that was his brain. No, his brain was not on acid.
So that whole film, because at the time, me and Trace were watching Stranger Things season 4.
Yeah.
And there was a scene that was kind of like that, where she just kept going into the same room, same room, same room, same room. And then also a little bit of Moon Knight kind of inspired it, the whole talking to yourself thing in the mirror.
Yeah.
But that whole film was literally based on a kind of like a thought or a play on words, more or less.
Yeah.
So like every character resembled something else. So whenever he went into the room,
They basically represented something.
yeah, whenever the room was basically represented the space between death and what happens next.
Yeah.
And my character, what you see in there, he represented the soul, his body. The part of him that was in the mirror represented his brain, his mind, trying to convince him to help him out.
The guy that's balls dropped.
Yeah. And then Trace's character represented death. And that was the whole thing of trying to get him to sleep. Is if he stayed awake, he's still alive. If he went to sleep, he died.
That's what my character's name means.
Yeah.
Death.
So,
In Latin. But yeah, that was a cool film to do. Trippy as crap. It took us about, I remember, 4 hours to film that thing, and it was a lot of fun to do. But yeah, The Room, we did that. That was cool. Then we did the film that was supposed to be the Fett film, and it turned into this, Star Wars Bounty, which is a great film. It's a great Star Wars film. It is the most viewed film that we did this year in 2022, or last year, I should say. And there's the poster for it right there. There's Jasper. Oh, yeah, Jasper. And then the bartender, me, and then Preston, the Shaden guy. But yeah, that is Star Wars Bounty. Star Wars Bounty, yes, it was the most viewed video of 2022, or film, I should say, of 2022, with 444 views, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Normally we get somewhere around there in views, but this year it kind of was off and on. When it came to stuff like that, but we don't really much care about the views. If you watch them, that's great. We appreciate it very much. But we did come up with another Star Wars character in our Star Wars universe, and that was Jasper McBride. And now we've got the first part in the stories of Jasper McBride. If you want more of those, let us know in the comments down below. How did you come up with Jasper McBride, Dawson?
So, Mandalorian came out, and such a great show and everything. And I've always wanted to do my own Mandalorian armor. I've done a couple of different custom ones. Like we did Rex, and we did a short film with him. I did a custom Mandalorian that was blue. Eric.
Yeah, we did a costume video of that too.
But we just never filmed with him or anything like that. But then I got a screen accurate, or I made a screen accurate Mandalorian suit from season 1 with the brown and tan and his silver helmet. But then I kind of went through and I was like, I really want to make a really good Mandalorian suit. And I'm a big fan into Westerns, and that's kind of what I based him off of, was a very Western gunslinger Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And that's why the colors are brown, tan, and
Very
dark
dusty
brown.
looking.
And very dusty looking. Like there's dirt on the suit and everything. And the cape, and it's like a little sombrero. Not sombrero, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Poncho. That's what it is. It's like a little poncho that's also black, tan, and brown.
Yep.
I just got it molded to where it's folded over his shoulder and behind him. And the blaster, if you look, the blaster is the one that Mandalorian uses, but I painted it differently and molded it differently to where it actually looks like a Colt that Clint Eastwood uses in Unforgiven. So it's got the gold, the gunmetal gray, and the brown handle and everything, and it looks really nice. It's like how he was saying, we were supposed to do FET, and we were supposed to build a set for it. And we built a set for this one, too. It was just not as good as what we wanted it to be. It was still good, though. We built a set, and it was supposed to be FET, and we wanted to do a video like this, and it was one of those times where we were like, okay, well, we've got 4 people. What are some options that we could film? And we kind of went back and forth on what to do, and we talked about doing Spirit of the Wolf.
Yeah, we talked about
right beforehand, and then it got changed to Bounty, the Star Wars film, and then we made Bounty, and it honestly came out really great. One of my favorite shots.
Yeah.
Because it blends together so well, but one of my favorite shots is the shot where you shoot me and it bounces off and I pull out and shoot at you again. Yeah. Just that little small clip, it's just, you're like,
whoa. Yeah, that film really made me feel like it was back to the films that we used to do in high school. That film really did. That was a cool film. A lot of people watched it. A lot more people than I thought watched it. Because Who Took Sarah had the most views until this film came out. But that was a great film. Check it out. Check all the videos out. Yeah. What am I talking about? Check them all out. The very last film that we did this year was Inside. And that was another one of my favorite ones. The wind was not our friend that day.
No.
Yeah, we're working on it.
That was our Halloween video.
It was our Halloween film. Not the first time we've attempted to do a Halloween film, because we did the beginning back in 2017 where Dawson was a vampire.
Yep.
And he sucks his blood in that. That was interesting.
Yeah,
but we did this film also, Inside. This was Caitlin's big main debut. Her biggest acting role she's ever been in. And she did great. But she gets killed. So you know,
there's that too.
It is what it is. But that one's a cool film as well. We based it a lot off of Barbarian and a lot of mixtures of different films like Halloween with the killer guy and just a bunch of horror stuff put into one, and it became Inside. And then me and Dawson were Dumb and Dumber. So that was also fun too. Those were completely improv.
Yeah,
those characters were completely made up.
I just would like to say that was probably one of the most fun that we've filmed.
Yep,
just
that was really
acting
fun.
Like that. Because throughout the film, we were joking around, telling jokes the entire time. Like, people are going to watch it and be like, where's Trace and Dawson? Because we weren't the main characters. And that was the funny thing. We weren't the main characters. It was Caitlin who was the main character. And you saw more of her the entire time. And then we come in later on like a bunch of doofuses.
Yeah, it's really funny because she's like in the beginning for like 8-9 minutes, and then it goes to shots of LJ, and then it comes to us, and they're like, oh, there they are.
Yeah, there they are.
They're right here. But it was a very fun video to do, and it was a great film to end the year on. We might do it again. We might do a sequel. We've talked about doing a sequel and making it more messed up.
A lot more
messed up than the first one. But it does have to do with the killer and who he is, and that's all we're going to say. And then we ended 2022 with the character videos. Caitlin got to actually have a video where she talks. A lot of time it's just us 2 or 3, but she got to talk about all of her characters. Dawson got to talk about all of his characters from 2020 to this year, and I got to talk about all of my characters from 2020 to this year. And that was basically it. We had a very short year last year. I'm still having to get used to thinking that it's not 2022 anymore.
2023.
But it's 2023, and as you can tell by the title, this is the year of wonder.
Of wonder.
And you wonder why it's called the year of wonder, because we're still wondering what we're gonna do.
So that's the title. Whether news happens or not, 2023, the year of wonder, because we're still wondering what's next.
Yeah, we don't know what exactly to do. We've got a ton of ideas. I've told Dawson, I have about 40 7-something pages of ideas that we came up with for the last 8 years. We've just came across this AI stuff. We've been getting a lot of ideas from that. Y'all probably heard it on TikTok and everything. Yeah. So I don't even have to tell you what it is, because y'all probably know what it is. It's pretty wild to get stuff like that. And we're coming up with that kind of stuff. Now we're entering the segment where we're going to talk about all the different ideas that we could potentially be doing in 2023 and in the future. Because every time we've done these videos, we're always like, we're going to do this. We never do it. So we're not going to say we're going to do it. We're just going to tell you what ideas we have, and then
maybe it happens.
Maybe it happens. Yeah, we've got a lot of ideas. And are there any that you want to go over first?
The first one I'm going to go over, because we have been mentioning it for the past 4 years. About 3 years. I think 3. We still got Spirit of the Wolf in the bags, the White Wolf film.
That's been an idea since the summer of 2020.
Yeah.
It's been there. It's
been there. That's just one of those films that it just needs, I need to get a dummy for it. People.
Not an actual physical dummy, like not a dumb person.
Not that person, a dummy. A fake person.
Just for some of y'all people that want to know, not an actual physical dummy person.
There's that one. There's one film. Now, it came close. It came very, very, very close. And it got a lot of people excited, especially Caitlin. It just, timing was not our friend. People was not our friend at the moment.
Yeah.
But Neverland.
Oh, yeah, Neverland.
We actually got really close because we actually filmed more stuff.
We have filmed, not a majority of it. We filmed probably almost half of it already. Or a quarter of it.
I'd say a quarter.
Yeah, we filmed about a quarter of it so far.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's talking parts.
Yeah, and there's this one part we filmed, but we're actually going to go back and refilm it. Because now that it's not that time again, I no longer have long hair.
Yeah.
And the costume has been changed since then. Because parts of it was just not working out, and I've had to redo some of it. So the costume's changed, so we got to go back and film a certain scene, and then I'm not telling y'all what scene it is.
Yeah.
We have to go back, and we got to go back and film a certain scene whenever it gets done. But we actually came close. So if we can get the people down and get everyone down, that could be a very big possibility.
Those two ideas have been since COVID started in the summer of 2020. Those have been the long-standing ideas that we've had pretty much since we've gotten out of high school, that we've been trying to constantly do, including the duel also.
The duel.
We did a whole video on that if you want to watch it, of us talking about it. But that's another one that we've had and we've wanted to do.
And the duel, that's a very big project.
Yeah.
We've got locations we've got to go to. There's costumes we got to get done. People.
That's big. That's always a big thing.
Sets. Like, we got to do a castle set for that. There's just a lot that goes on, because that was the film that I started writing a script from it, and I put it on pause for a little bit so we can kind of work on other things for the time being, because putting my interest in things that we can work on now, then
that happens a lot.
Yeah. So whenever the time comes that we're like, okay, we can do this, I'll finish it.
Yeah.
But for the time being, I put it on pause. But I still stick to my statement that whenever we film that and get it done and edited and everything is fine and dandy, that film is going to be an hour and a half to almost 2 hours long.
Yeah, it should be pretty long, I would imagine.
So,
but we do have ideas like Dutch, which we talked about earlier today, and we have ideas like Stranded, which I told you the other day about two guys who get stranded in the woods and don't know where the crap they are. We've got a bunch of stuff like that that we've talked about. We've talked about the Red Ranger film that we talked about back in
that's another one.
Yeah, and back in 2020, probably at the end of 2020. There's just a lot. There's a lot that we want to do in the future, and that doesn't mean that we're going to do it this year, because we're still stuck in the same spot that we were a year ago.
Yeah. It's one of those, the key word, films we want to do in the future.
Yeah.
It could be this year, or it could be the next year, or so on about that. We do have a lot more. We got more Star Wars films
Yeah.
that we got planned.
Yeah.
There's 2 that deal with stormtroopers.
Yeah.
One's
One which was made up by Dawson, and the other one was made up by a computer.
See.
Which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm. So the one that was made up by me, it's about a stormtrooper platoon. It's a very deep, thought out one. The best way I can describe that is chaos.
Yeah.
This is what
Yeah.
this is what I described
Yeah.
Trace earlier. It's chaos, and the other one is a very more. It has its chaotic parts, but it's
The computer one.
yeah, it's a lot more thought out.
Yeah.
The computer only writ like a little bit at the beginning.
It doesn't give us a full-fledged
Yeah.
film. We expect to just get ideas and then go off of that.
Yeah. So I took whatever it wrote out, which was actually going to be the beginning of it,
Yeah.
and then I created
The rest
the
of
rest
it.
of the
Yeah.
story. But it's a lot more of a thought out, kind of calmer in a way. Like I said, it
Surprising.
it has its chaotic moments, but it's a lot more of a. I don't really know what to call it. It's a film.
It's a film, yeah.
So,
I just thought of this while you were talking about the Star Wars stuff and you talking about the chaotic stuff. I will say, 2022 was really a year for original stuff, and I will say, don't expect us to not to quit doing original stuff because we've made up probably the most original characters in 2022 that we ever have. Period. We plan on making a ton more.
yeah.
In 2023 and in the future. So expect a lot of films about origin stories about characters such as the Shadow Dragon, the Green Dragon.
Lots of dragons.
They're not related.
They're not related whatsoever.
The Mighty Mantis. We've talked about doing that.
Yeah.
A lot of custom Power Ranger stuff we've talked about doing.
Yeah.
A lot of different things. A lot of heroes. Dutch being one of those characters that's an original thing. And stuff like that. I would say that 2022 was really the year of originality for us.
It's going to keep being that way.
Yeah, because we, in high school, as some of you, if you've watched our channel frequently, know that we use a lot of, like, Red Hood and Joker and Batman and all these characters that already exist. Like Indiana Jones, like Dawson couldn't explain a lot of the characters in that film, in the video, because people already know who Indiana Jones is. Yeah. And like Dick Grayson and all that stuff. We're going to try, you may see some here and there using characters like that, but most of the time we're going to try to do our own versions of characters or our own people. And because we're really trying to actually get some credibility for ourselves that we can actually make stuff instead of having to take it from things or whatever.
A lot more creativity.
But, nothing's original anymore in films.
Yeah.
Films and TV's not original. They usually take one or two things away from different things. That's why we're going to make it a little bit different.
It's the whole, hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, just change a couple of things up.
Yeah. And that's just what it is in the film industry now. Is there's the originality now is make it as weird as you possibly can. We don't intend to make it anything weird.
We've got a couple more. We've talked about doing some more detective, real life crime things too, which reminds me. Me and Caitlin went to Target the other day, and they've got more. It's not the same open case files.
Yeah, it's different
thing.
ones.
It's a different one.
Yeah.
But it's actually really cool. Like one was called "Death at the Dive Bar," which is the same thing. You're just trying to figure out the murder.
Yeah.
So we got a couple more things like that, but we've also talked about, which it would be crazy. We need some people for it, of course, but we can probably scavenge. We were talking about basically combining Who Took Sarah and then case number yada yada yada. Because if you remember, the case number 1 was us in the same place the entire time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Figuring out the murder.
Lot of story.
Lots of story.
A lot of story.
Black screen with text on it of the interviews and stuff. And then Who Took Sarah was literally like
the physical version of that.
The physical of everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we talked about basically combining the two, where you got the physical aspect and then the in-place aspect put together to where it makes a bigger story and to makes a
3-hour epic.
Dude.
We do want to do a trilogy of detective stuff, like Dawson's talking about the case number film. We want to do like a trilogy with, or I've wanted to do a trilogy of films that are like that, not with the same characters, but with different characters in that sort of environment. We've got a lot of stuff. There's even films that we could pull out from the deep dark hole of Whether New Times or Not from several years ago that we could use. I see your face in the camera.
I'm trying to remember what you're talking about.
No, I'm just saying, like, we could go back.
Damon and Pythias?
Yeah, there's Damon and Pythias that we came up with in freshman year of high school. That one is actually pretty good.
That one's brutal.
It is brutal.
If you remember.
Yeah, we wrote, like, sequels to that, too, not just a first one.
The actual film was completely, like, I think back to that and think back to the script, and I was like, that's brutal.
Yeah, like, it was something.
There's a scene where Damon, on his last gladiator fight that he's in, he takes a sword and sticks it into the ground and then grabs the head of a dude and slams it through the sword. I was like,
wild.
We made this stuff up in freshman year of high school.
Yeah, it was wild. That was back when me and Dawson co-wrote films.
Yeah. Because
we didn't know what we were doing. And, like, with White Light, we've talked about wanting to do that again. Except if we did it now, if we did White Light now, it probably would be a whole different White Ranger.
Yeah, it'd probably be our custom.
Because it was going to be Bradley Dean, the White Ranger, which he was in The Stories of Mr. Robinson, if y'all haven't watched that. Yeah, so that was going to be a very interesting film where we were going to film that in the high school parking lot at night.
Yeah.
And I don't know how well that would have went over at all. Probably not that great.
If you really think about it, White Light, it's Power Rangers and whatnot, but
yeah,
if you kind of think about it, it's kind of turned into the Mighty Mantis now.
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of
it's just more stuff going on instead of, oh, this kid's a soccer player and he stumbles across a stone that this skeleton-looking dude, or Red Death, he wears the same stuff as Skeleton Man. It's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And he takes it to his buddy, and then his buddy gets killed, and he becomes the White Ranger. And then the Mighty Mantis is a little bit different because that has aliens and stuff in it. And it's based off of Kamen Rider. That's also a big thing, too. We've never done that before.
Yep.
We plan on doing a lot more stuff with that as well. As some of you may know, I am a very huge fan of Japanese tokusatsu shows. That is what it's called. And
I like Power Rangers.
That's the same thing. It's the same thing, but in English. Kamen Rider and Super Sentai and the suit that I sent Dawson the other day is a part of it. And just there's a bunch of stuff that I want to do, and Dawson wants to make suits with some of the Kamen Rider stuff. They're very more darker than Power Rangers in America. I'll say that. People die in it. I'll say that. People do die in those shows. We got a lot of stuff that we want to do in 2023. And y'all are just going to have to wonder like we do.
Wonder what's next.
Yeah, because this is the year of wonder. Because we don't know what we want to do. We're wondering what's next. The future of WNHON show. But I will say, I'll announce it right now. We're going to try to do a podcast soon, a weekly one. We tried to do it in 2020. We only did it for a month.
It was like games.
Yeah, well, that, and we did, like, the top whatever. We did lists and stuff, and we did the one with Caitlin was on it. That was one of the first times she was on camera, was on that one talking about all the Red Hoods. We talked about the legend on there, and we did the premiere episode. We want to get back to doing those again. Basically the Weather New Terms Not show. So look out for those. We're going to try to do those as much as we possibly can. And so we can actually make stuff.
Yeah.
For y'all, beautiful people. Do you want to say anything before we go?
It's like how we said, this is going to be the year of wonder. So wondering what comes next is going to be the idea of it.
Some stuff might be pulled out of thin air. We did that in 2022. So that could happen again.
So we don't really know what comes next. We actually talked about how after this we're going to talk about what's next.
Yep.
or we're going to try to figure out what could be next. The best thing I could say is just to kind of sit back, relax, and wonder what's next.
Yeah,
So,
enjoy the ride,
enjoy the
folks.
ride.
If you are watching this video, please subscribe. Please subscribe to the Weather News Happens or Not channel. Leave a like on this video and comment on all of our videos. Tell us how great we are. I'm kidding. Tell us what film ideas that you have, because we would like to hear from our audience and maybe get some input. Be very appreciated. My name is Trace Parks.
My name is Dawson Mullins.
We'll see you guys in the next Weather News Happens or Not video. Bye-bye.
Peace.
1, 2, 3.